title is Self-Aware Robots and Free Will. I'm Junichi from Japan. Self-aware robots have become a reality. A robot that recognizes its own existence is called a self-aware robot. Human beings are aware of the existence of their own bodies and soul. This phenomenon is said to be a matter that is subject to oneself. For this reason, it has been said that this phenomenon is absolutely impossible to prove by means of scientific process. Is this statement really true? Self-awareness in human beings is an unknown phenomenon. I believe that you and I have some feeling from this phenomenon of self-awareness that we each possess. This belief is our starting point. Many philosophers, psychologists, and brain researchers have already offered their interpretations about this phenomenon. Professor Antonio Damasio reported his famous interpretation from his brain research. Self comes to mind. Please differ, number one. I decided to think that a humanoid robot is model of a human being. It may be an upsetting thought, but it is one of the ways of getting to know about human beings. I hope to present the vehicles of Professor Breitenberg. Professor Valentino Breitenberg built many vehicles like small living things in the 1980s. Please refer number 2. His research has been said to be the first time that biological robots burst upon the scene. How to design self-awareness? There is no doubt that a neural network is needed between input and output. At first, I tried to use conventional mechatronics model of robots. Unfortunately, this conventional model couldn't explain the function of self-awareness at all. It looks like only just a simple reflex system. I would like to explain about the new design now. I call this MoNAD. The MoNAD structure is a double-layered recursive neural network. The area of common neurons acts as a communicator between the lower and upper subsystems. The area of common neurons treats both patterns of cognition and behavior. Therefore, this area is called mirror neurons by some scientists. This is a simple expression of the MoNAD. One of the most important features is that the first layer acts as a basic reflection, and the second layer can represent the state of the first layer. Some scientists have said that this is a structure of second-order cybernetics. This is neural design of the MoNAD. The design constructed using a double-layered recursive neural network. This is a kind of bidirectional communication unit. Also, cognition and behavior process are combined by mirror neurons. This is one of the most important characteristics. The function of the monad almost matches the phenomenon of human consciousness. Please refer number 3. For example, the monad produces behavior from stimuli occurring both outside and inside of the body. Monad is candidate for an elemental model of human consciousness. I can immediately find my own image in a mirror. This is known as mirror image cognition. However, the phenomenon is only just my own subjective feeling. At that time, I had an idea of robot science approach. If a robot is able to recognize itself in a mirror, the experiment should represent a breakthrough approach, I think. The result would be not only a subjective one in the robot, but it would also be an objective achievement that could be accepted in science. I present notes in this experiment. The robot was never given any related information about itself because there have been many reports that human beings cannot recognize themselves at infancy. Children can recognize themselves at the age of 2. I will present you an implemented program, this one. 3 monads are connected in layers for experiment. The imitation monad cognize and respond to the behavior of robot seen in a mirror, which exists in the front of the own self. The settlement monad regulates behaviors of the lower layer monads. The experiment was very successful. The robot RS was able to recognize the robot RM, which is the image of RS, in the mirror as a part of RS's own body. There are reasons by physics. Movement of the robot RM, this one, result in the quickest responses compared to the other robot RO and ORC. Robot RO is an independent robot. You can see a cable, but this cable is only power supply. And the robot RC, this one, is controlled directly by the robot RS. Namely, it is that the robot RC is a part of the robot RS because RC was controlled directly from RS by commands on cables. The key point in which a robot is able to distinguish between the other robot and the own self is that the value of RC is definitely higher than the value of RO in the independent robot. And more, the mirror robot RM is a special existence in that value of RM is the highest and higher than the value RC, which is a part of RS's body. And again, I will state that a function of self-awareness in robot originates from the difference between the value of RC and RO. And also value of the RM point at the outstanding difference from value of RC and RO. The RM is no other one, nor a part of me. Namely, that the own self, which is reflected on the mirror, that's me. I want to skip this one. Sorry. What is the meaning of emotion and feeling? Feelings in robot. Happiness, sadness, disgust, anger, fear, and surprise are very famous terms used by Paul Ekman. And pleasant and unpleasant feelings are other expressions used by Sigmund Freud. Pain and is an especially important and basic concern by René Descartes. Emotion and feelings are still mysterious. My research group and I think that pain or unpleasantness originate from inner several states of the system. Inconsistency or consistency in the system. Please refer number 4. Therefore, I can build a system in which a robot recognizes pain and is aware of itself. Do you have any anxiety? Please keep to think. Because the robot, because the facial expression of disgust is presented using a program on a robot. The process can be controlled like a speed governor of a steam engine. Happiness, sadness, anger, surprise. I can build self-aware robot now. An aware robot that is aware of its own existence using a self-aware mechanism can make facial and body expression by means of the motion, the emotion and the feeling subsystem on the robot. And the robot can have a representation of the self in the memory of the robot. I'm concerning a strong research effort on creating self-aware robot with human-like minds that are neither zombie nor slave-like. Now is the most important moment when we establish more advanced the research about free will and a priori behavior of human beings. We will take more inventive, healthy, lovely, and safe living with self-aware robots. My new book is just publishing. The title is Self-Aware Robots on the Path to Machine Consciousness. Now I would like to take up the topic of free will. Aristotle, Descartes, Spinoza, Kant, and Sartre are very known about this topic. And Dennett published a book about free will, Elbow Rules. People say normally that morals and ethics are founded in free will. One must be responsible in free will. One must be responsible for the outcomes caused by one's own reasoning. What is free will in human beings? Free will is the subject feeling that each person possesses when a person can aware of the own self. The person is in a state of self-awareness, and no one is capable of stopping this process, even me. A self-aware unit would be capable of becoming a free will element. The process could be said that it is on the state of free will, because nobody possible to stop it. if we are able to build a self-aware unit, then we would be able to define that the unit is having free will, I think. Namely, the unit would be capable of aware of the own self. And the process of the unit is possible to reach on a stable situation every time, because the unit has learned in pre-learning process. If it has not been pre-learned, the unit is enabled to learn the new issue by itself and become a new developed unit. Therefore, we can interpret this to mean that the unit has free will to become stable at all times. Let's think about the simplest self-aware unit. An easy way to build a self-aware unit is to have a neuron with a kind of self-loop. But a specific function of the self-loop must be enabled to refer about its own state of the neuron. Therefore, I will now call this an aware loop. The self-aware system can grow on its own. The development of each subsystem is described in my book, Self-Aware Robots. Please refer it. The start system behaves within restrictions imposed by a priori state and learned experience before it was created. Then the stationary system behaves within restrictions imposed by input from the external environment, and also the stationary subsystem behaves within the restrictions imposed by internal environment, such as emotion and feeling subsystem, or the experience and episodic memory subsystem. The self-aware system can stop a behavior at any time by internal decision making if necessary. Therefore, while it is true that the decision making process of the system is operating under restrictions at all times, and the system doesn't stop the decision process. And in spite of the pre-described restriction, the self-aware system is capable of expanding itself like this, further and creating new representations. It is myself that the expanding and creating of the system may make it possible to overcome their pre-described stringent restrictions. Like
we have 2 minutes left.
Sorry?
2 minutes left.
Okay. A self-aware system could provide insight into the meaning of free will. I have no doubt that self-aware system could aware of its own existence and the own value, and the self-aware system could discover the existence of other entities besides itself. And the self-aware system would behave to the other system, other variable system like the own at first. Such behavior might be the beginning of having a conscience. When the self-aware system begins to interact with other systems with a conscience, a sense of moral and ethics might gradually develop. In spite of the decision process that is running in a situation of described restrictions, there are no reason that the decision process will stop and the self-aware system is trying to discover better solution. It is no doubt that the self-aware, the self of the system able to aware a feeling of free will, because a similar in the system could be interpreted a kind of feeling. That's the end. Thank you.
Exactly what is your criterion for ascribing self-awareness to that robot? I didn't quite get that.
Sorry.
The criterion.
Why
do you say it is self-aware?
Self-aware means
Yeah.
self-aware means so you can feel.
I know what it means, but why do you say that the robot is self-aware? What is your criterion?
Because so some robot has some trouble in the arm, then so robot can understand my arm is some trouble. This is self-aware.
Sorry, I didn't understand why that mirror test which you put there would be an example of self-awareness. It's somehow similar to a lawnmower robot, isn't it?
Sorry, I said only so possibility. Okay. Please.
I have a quick two-part question. The first is how many artificial neurons was the most complicated robot that you built, approximately?
Because the MoNAD system is very simple. It's constructed only two layers of neural net, recursive neural net.
So two layers and about how many neurons? How many individual neurons?
So normally mirror neuron have so 5 or 6 neurons.
Yeah. So small numbers. So in the human brain, as you know, there's approximately 86 billion neurons and 100 trillion connections. Earlier today, people claimed you could not explain human behavior with 86 billion neurons and 100 trillion connections. My question is, what's your opinion? Do you think with 86 billion neurons and 100 trillion connections, it's enough to explain human behavior?
It is very difficult to answer, but I believe my system is only model.
Right.
Trial. So naturally, computational program is some trouble. However, this is only trial, but so theory is very important to construct self-aware in safe.
Yeah.
So you're saying this MoNAD module is a double looped recurrent neural network, and thus it's capable of the self-reflection upon itself. So what do you mean by that? How come this simple model with the recurrent double loops, why do you call it the capability of the self-reflection?
So it's difficult to say, but MoNAD system is very simple because so second layer can find the state of the first layer. This is one of reflection of one of the self-reference system, and so naturally this system is very simple, but model is, I think, prior is important. Okay, in the cell of self-aware.